Thank you for consulting the Reynolds Historical Event Library. A research has located a video file which matches your query parameters. Before you view this file, it is a library requirement that you are informed of the temporal context of the file and its content. These are as follows: file information. File taken from one of 17 possible timelines for the requested temporal parameters. 14 of the 17 timelines contain similar events. The timeline for this file collapsed via entropy within 6 hours of the events depicted in the file. Due to its proximity to temporal collapse point, quality of the file cannot be guaranteed. Temporal context: November 2016. President Trump elected. Highly divisive election. Opponent Hillary Clinton wins popular vote. April 2017. Border war with Mexico commenced. May 2017. Citizen militia group formed. Citizen militia consisted of paramilitary base. July 2017. First sections of wall erected. November 2017. President publicly endorsed citizen militia. Group grows in power and influence. Responsible for public attacks on minorities. December 2017. Resistance groups are formed as a result of these attacks. February 2018. First sections of war breached. March 2018. President Trump orders citizen militia attacks on resistance groups. May 2018. President Trump demands Mexico make full and immediate payment for the war. Mexico declines. June 2018. U.S. launches trade war with Mexico and China. September 2018. Mexican military attack on war. October 2018. President Trump replaces his personal security with citizen militia members. November 2018. Democrats, Greens and Independents decimate Republicans at midterm elections. Democrats hold majority in both houses of Congress. President Trump requests a recount of the results, citing voter fraud. Erratic behavior by the president is observed at public events over the following weeks. The First Lady announces her separation from the president. The White House spokesperson resigns. Citizen militia replace all internal security at the White House. Standby. File dispatch in progress. File ID known as Emergency Alert System, National Emergency Alert.
This is WVET-TV. Stand by for a broadcast of the Emergency Alert System. A national emergency is in progress. Important instructions will follow. Stand by for a broadcast of the Emergency Alert System. A national emergency is in progress. Important instructions will follow. This is an emergency warning message. All broadcast and cable systems will transmit this emergency warning message. This station has interrupted normal programming at the request of the White House to participate in the emergency alert system. During this emergency, most stations will remain on the air providing news and information to the public in assigned areas. This is WVET-TV. We will continue to serve the Rochester, New York area. If you are not in this local area, you should tune to stations providing news and information for your local area. Do not use your telephone. The telephone line should be kept open for emergency use. The emergency alert system has been activated. This is an emergency warning message. This warning has been authorized by the Vice President and the Federal Emergency Management Agency. An emergency situation is in progress at the White House. The President has been declared insane. The President has been impeached. The President has used force to stop attempts to remove him from office. The citizen militia are believed to be protecting the President. The citizen militia have been involved in exchanges of gunfire within the White House. Casualty and injury information is currently unknown. The President has threatened to launch nuclear strikes. The President is in possession of the Presidential Emergency Satchel and the gold codes for nuclear missile launch. The President may order nuclear strikes at any moment. Explosive devices have been identified in the following Washington, D.C. locations: DuPont Circle, Chinatown, and the National Mall. Police are currently en route to these locations. Report any suspicious package or unclaimed luggage immediately. Stay indoors, and stay away from your windows. Shelter in basements, bathrooms or garages. Explosions of unknown magnitude could occur at any time. Seek shelter immediately and await further instructions. Citizen militia members have bombed the Lincoln Memorial Building. Casualty details are unknown. There is significant damage to the building and the statue of Lincoln. Fighting between members of the public and citizen militia have been reported. Police are en route to the location. Further explosions are possible. Evacuate the area immediately. If nearby, stay indoors, away from windows, until further advised. The President has left the White House. The First Lady has been rescued from the White House. The First Lady is being moved to a secure location. The First Lady is receiving medical treatment. The presidential state car is being accompanied by citizen militia vehicles. The President is considered armed and dangerous. Do not attempt to apprehend the President. Explosions have occurred at locations in Washington, D.C. Extensive damage has been reported. A small nuclear device has been detonated. Evacuate the areas of Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport, Washington National Cathedral, Langdon, and Arlington immediately. Follow directions given by police and law enforcement officials. Do not follow any instruction or direction given by the citizen militia group. The citizen militia is considered a security threat to the United States. Avoid contact with all members of the citizen militia. Do not approach members of the citizen militia. Law enforcement agencies will apprehend members of the citizen militia. The Vice President is flying to Washington, D.C. on Air Force One. The Vice President will assume the presidency upon arrival. The Vice President is flying to Washington, D.C. on Air Force One. The Vice President will assume the presidency upon arrival. Attacks by armed groups have collapsed sections of the border wall. The Army is currently engaging these armed groups. An explosion has occurred at the Washington Monument. The public should evacuate the area immediately. An explosion has occurred outside the Capitol building. Explosions have occurred at Washington Airport. Evacuate these areas immediately. Damage and casualty details are unknown at this time. The presidential motorcade is moving in northeasterly direction from the city of Washington. Heavily armed vehicles have been identified in the motorcade. Do not approach the motorcade. Law enforcement agencies will intercept the motorcade. Be prepared for exchanges of gunfire and explosions in the vicinity of the motorcade. Stay indoors. Drivers pull over to allow the motorcade to pass. Severe weather activity has increased in southeastern states. Tornadoes are currently in progress in Florida, Maryland, Mississippi, Oklahoma, South Carolina, and Louisiana. Seek shelter immediately. Do not go outside. Stay away from windows. Missile launches are in progress from U.S. locations. The President has ordered a nuclear attack. Missile trajectories and targets are unknown. Seek shelter immediately. Prepare for a nuclear attack. Ensure you have food and provisions for at least 14 days. Shelter in the lowest, most central part of a building. Use doors and furniture to create an inner shelter. Ensure the entrance to your shelter is as small as possible. Do not leave your shelter for at least 14 days. A nuclear explosion has occurred in airspace above Winchester. The explosion has destroyed Air Force One. The Vice President is assumed to be deceased. There is no response to attempts at contact. A nuclear explosion has occurred in airspace above Winchester. The explosion has destroyed Air Force One. The Vice President is assumed to be deceased. There is no response to attempts at contact. U.S. missile launches continue. Trajectories have been calculated and targets identified. Target locations are Moscow, Russia, Beijing, China, Pyongyang, North Korea, London, United Kingdom. Reciprocal missile launches have been detected from Russia, North Korea and China. Missile trajectories suggest targets located in mainland United States. Prepare now for nuclear explosions. Prepare now for nuclear explosions. Prepare now for the 3 effects of a nuclear explosion. Prepare now for light, Heat and shockwave blast. Enter your emergency shelter now. Do not leave your shelter for the next 14 days. The Joint Chiefs of Staff have released a statement advising that presidential orders will be ignored. Nuclear missiles currently in flight will be aborted. Missile launches from the United States have ceased. Seek shelter now. Ensure you have food and provisions for at least 14 days. This will enable survival until the present emergency passes. Nuclear missiles are on inbound trajectories. Incoming missiles from Russia, China and North Korea continue on approach. Trajectories have been calculated are now identified as New York, Washington, Miami, San Francisco, Los Angeles, Chicago, Houston, Boston. Further targets will be advised as they are received. Exchanges of fire are taking place between citizen militia and law enforcement agencies in 27 states. Stay indoors. Do not engage with the citizen militia. All civil air travel is immediately suspended. High risk of damage from electromagnetic pulse explosions in flight exists. All aircraft will land at their closest airport. Aircraft without access to an airport are instructed to land on any suitable road or open space. Nuclear explosions have occurred at the San Andreas Fault. A magnitude 9 earthquake is in progress. Citizens of California are advised to seek shelter immediately. Extreme levels of damage are expected. Do not leave your current location if possible. Move to a different location only if it is safe to do so. Do not attempt to use any major road or bridge structure as these may be critically damaged. Fallout is now occurring in Washington, D.C. If you are in Washington, D.C., do not leave your shelter. Do not go outside. Fallout is deadly. Fallout will contaminate everything outside of your shelter. Fallout will cause radiation sickness followed by death. Fallout will contaminate all exposed food and water sources. Do not leave your shelter for 14 days. Further explosions have occurred at several locations in the city. Casualties are estimated in the thousands. Citizens of neighboring states are advised to evacuate to safer locations immediately. The president's motorcade has been located on Highway 95, en route to Baltimore. Do not approach the president's motorcade. If driving, pull over and allow the motorcade to pass unimpeded. Stay where you are until law enforcement vehicles pass. Due to the unpredictable nature of the emergency, drivers are advised not to follow the motorcade. Instead, stay where you are, or take a different route away from emergency areas. Residents of Baltimore are advised that the president's motorcade is approaching and they should prepare accordingly. If you have not already done so, evacuate to safety now. Ensure you have provisions to survive at least 14 days. Do not approach members of the citizen militia or the presidential motorcade. Multiple U.S. nuclear warheads have struck the following locations: Moscow, Beijing, Pyongyang, London, Sydney, Jakarta, Jerusalem, Damascus. An abort message has been sent to remaining missiles which have exploded in flight. Incoming missiles are being tracked and are estimated to arrive in 4 minutes. It is now too late to seek an external shelter. Stay where you are and use whatever you have available to construct a fallout shelter. Enter your fallout shelter now. Prepare now for nuclear explosions. Prepare now for extreme light, heat and shockwave blast. Enter your emergency shelter now. Do not leave your shelter for the next 14 days. Multiple earthquakes of magnitude 9 and above have been recorded as striking across California. Reports of major damage have been received from across the San Francisco Bay Area. The following locations have been destroyed or severely damaged: San Francisco Central Business District, San Francisco City Hall, Transamerica Pyramid, Fisherman's Wharf, Golden Gate Bridge, Coit Tower, Oakland International Airport. Significant land subsidence events have occurred from Pescadero to Aptos, and Sea Haven to Bolinas. Multiple tsunamis are in progress. Nuclear warheads are incoming and will strike in 2 minutes. If you have not already done so, enter your emergency shelter and inner refuge now. All FEMA emergency centers and all other shelters are instructed to close doors now. Enter lockdown now. Move all inhabitants to the inner refuge now. Do not unlock doors for 14 days or until otherwise instructed. Ensure your supplies of food and water will last 14 days. Martial law is now in effect. Drivers are instructed to pull over now and seek shelter. Do not remain in your vehicle. Vehicles will combust and be incinerated in the explosion. Prepare for interruptions to this emergency broadcast. Nuclear explosions, natural disasters and electromagnetic pulses may disrupt this broadcast or your ability to receive it. We will continue to broadcast for as long as possible. Ensure you have a radio tuned to your local station for emergency updates. Television broadcasts may be disrupted, depending on your location. Nuclear explosions are estimated to begin now. A total of 75 warheads are estimated as incoming. Ensure you are in your shelter now. Nuclear explosions are in progress. A large nuclear explosion has taken place outside of Baltimore. The presidential motorcade has been destroyed. The president is assumed deceased. No information is available at this time.